Welcome to the Global Small Cap Venture Summit Show on wealthresearch.com. We've had many shows in the past 2 years, over 100 of them, and I'm excited about this one especially. The reason is because the person we have on the phone is 3 or 4 years younger than me. He hasn't even reached the age of 30 yet, but he's a partner in one of the fastest growing and most serially successful venture capital groups in the world. I've met him in person and was blown away by his humble demeanor, though he has accomplished in a decade more than most people accomplish in 5 lifetimes. But Brian Paes-Braga is partner at Fiore Group, and let me take a second to share with you that it's the entrepreneurs who brought Hive blockchain technology from dream to reality, making shareholders money since second one. Not only that, but Brian founded along with his partners, and was the CEO of Lithium X, a Nevada-based lithium junior, which IPO'd at about $3 million and recently got sold for cash at $265 million, an 80-fold increase in value for shareholders. Just an amazing achievement. These guys know how to build businesses. They know how to value them. They know how to sell them. They know how to add value all along the way. But Brian's specialty is also in negotiations, spotting trends early and running with it. In my opinion, shareholders who do nothing else in the coming 3 decades but stick with Brian's deals throughout his career will be greatly enriched, and I plan to be right there as well. My partners and I believe wholeheartedly that Mr. Paes-Braga is a once-in-a-generation businessman, and have no doubt he'll reach the Forbes billionaire list and take shareholders for this ride with him. I watched Lithium X charge like a bullet train, like a semi-trailer truck on the freeway for 2 years straight since inception, and he took a $3 million venture to a $250 million sale. Today he joins us to discuss their Gold Wealth vehicle for shareholders and to share his wisdom about the state of the economy. Brian, how are you today?
I'm great, Lior. How are you?
I consider you to be one of the premier experts in geopolitical matters. You've often told me how things would shape, and a month or even a week later, they transpire like you foresaw them. Ray Dalio, world's best performing hedge fund manager, piled massively into GLD ETFs in 2017, becoming the 6th largest holder on the planet. So he shares your conviction of troubles looming. He cites populism and wealth gap as reasons to own gold. What do you see on your radar?
Yeah, it's something that is top of mind for us when we look at asset classes to invest in. And as you said, the geopolitical sphere right now is it's a scary place for sure. And I think as many of your listeners and readers and followers know, really what's driven the gold price over the last multiple cycles has been the weakening of the U.S. dollar, as well as really risk that comes into the market. What we've seen over the last few years is the volatility dry up in the markets across the board. Asset prices really across the board also go to the upside in terms of the Dow and other equities. And I think what the last asset to really move is going to be precious metals. I think it will be driven by some of the geopolitical risk that is out there based on North Korea and what's happening with the Trump administration in the United States, and also again is the weakening of the U.S. dollar, which I don't think there's going to be as much rising of interest rates as the Federal Reserve has indicated. I don't think that's going to be sustainable. We've seen great recessions happen after the rising of interest rates and engaging in the monetary policy of more expensive money. So for the factors in summary of a weakening U.S. dollar, increased geopolitical risk, as well as an inability of the Federal Reserve to tighten monetary policy just because of the sheer debt that is on the balance sheet of the U.S. Economy and balance sheet. I see a great year for gold coming here.
Your good friend and legendary fund manager Frank Holmes, who is chairman of Hive Blockchain Tech, predicted correctly the bear market for gold in 2017. Brian, gold bottomed at 1,052 per ounce precisely 2 years and 2 weeks ago on December 15th, 2015. In 2017, it had its best year since 2010. It closed at 1303. It's now trading at 1320. The talking suits on CNBC said that the rate hikes would damage the reason to own gold, but the opposite is true, it seems. I was extra tempted to FedEx each of these amateur analysts an ounce in gold with a personal note saying, "In gold we trust." Higher rates mean borrowers rush to take out loans before rates go even higher and inflation is increased. Could 2018 see gold make another 10% or 15% move to the upside to 1430 or 1450 and make a lot of the new gold projects economical after a 2-year leg to the spot price gold market and igniting a junior mining bull market? You're smack dab in the middle of this industry, at the heart of it. What's your take?
Yeah, I think with an increased gold price, you're going to see a lot more M&A, which is something that we've built a lot of our companies on. I just recently announced the sale of Lithium X, which was actually a company that was started in Nevada, not unlike another company we're going to talk about, Fiore, but it's a company that we started with myself and Paul Matizik and Frank Justra. And we turned about a $3 million market cap company into a $265 million cash exit that should be closing next month, by way of building the company through M&A and the underlying price performance of the commodity that we got into, which was, of course, lithium. I see the same environment happening here with gold, with an increased price and the leaders of the market that are able to attract capital and projects at accretive valuations and accretive prices and build companies. So that's what our motto is. And at the front lines of this space, it's important capital. Really, we're stewards of capital in the front lines. And as long as we can deploy them on good projects and geopolitically safe environments, we continue to build value for shareholders. And that's what we're all about.
Brian, with lithium, you nailed timing to the wire. You timed blockchain and cryptocurrencies exactly right, taking public Hive blockchain at the exactly the right moment and becoming the first mover in that industry. Now, the good thing about gold sector is it's massacre. It's absolute carnage for the stocks for the past 7 years. Many of them are unable to raise funds. They're coughing blood. They have to be cautious about burning. Management teams are very frightful right now, and the companies trade at historically low valuations. Our systems show that since 1942, gold shares haven't been this cheap. Is this the right time, in your opinion, to make mergers and acquisitions?
I think it is. I think it's a perfect example of what happens in these commodity cycles. You can see assets that trade at 90% off from when they previously were valued, or the amount of investment that's actually gone into some of these assets. For example, with Fiore Gold, an asset that had over $200 million spent on it, Fiore Gold actually purchased it for about $50 to $60 million Canadian in shares. And this is an asset that had, as I said, over $200 million spent on it. So these types of opportunities don't come along very often, and it is that ability to attract capital and people at a time when others are really looking just for an ability to get some sort of value. And I think that this is just the start of an opportunity. And what we saw on the lithium side was lithium had moved from about $5,000 a ton to $7,000 or $8,000 a ton, and we were able to get 3 acquisitions done, 2 in Nevada and 1 in Argentina, before the market really caught up and revalued all of these projects. And I think the major reason for that, for your listeners' sake, is that these projects take a lot of capital to develop, and it's hard to find cash flowing projects at when prices drop. And it's really finding those projects at those moments when no one else can handle them. And usually it's done, Lior, with equity when debt burdens some of these existing projects. And that's the key, is just to maintain a strong balance sheet when others are weak. And you can create lots of value for shareholders by being smart and patient, but getting very aggressive when you sense and you can sniff out a deal.
Brian, we'll get to Fiore Gold in a second here, but because you're such a savvy student of mining history, I wanted to present a question to you. Since the 90s, every gold stock bull market was preceded by an outperformance of silver relative to gold. In other words, the gold-silver ratio shrinks or tightens, and speculative money returns to the sector, and then it moves into these plays, these junior mining companies that can move 500 to 1,000% a year, gold companies that are valued at 50 to 300 million today. And we know that investor demand for silver goes up in these times. And 2018 promises to be a very unstable and political and social year, like with North Korea and what's going on in Iraq right now. Trump's second year in office, Europe political woes, the Russian plans to move away from the US dollar standard. In 2016, an 11% correction in the S&P 500 sparked an 8-month bullet train move for gold stocks. Could we see a 2018 repeat or even better than what we saw in 2016?
I think that could help, Lior, for sure. But I also think that it's really going to be driven, as I pointed out earlier, and I think you and Future Money Trends have nailed many times, is gold's correlation. The move in gold is really, in my opinion, driven by, as I said, the factors of the U.S. dollar weakness, an inability for monetary policy to tighten, and of course geopolitical risk. And I just sense that coming back from the market. Whether or not equities continue to go on their bull run or not, I don't think that's going to be the really determining factor. I think investors right now are distracted by momentum stocks. You see it from the top down, the FANGs in the United States, being Facebook and Amazon and others, really just trading at multiples that are almost unbelievable. But the management of those companies are doing great jobs purchasing businesses that are trading at much less multiples. For example, Amazon buying Whole Foods. I think that's a perfect example of using a high-priced currency, a high-priced stock, and buying a bricks-and-mortar business at incredible accretive valuations. I'd like to say that that's the same sort of approach we like to use when we're building companies, is because shareholders give us as management teams credit for providing value to shareholders time in and time again. We really get to go in there and use a currency that may be trading at premiums to comparable assets, or assets that are in companies or private assets that are sitting that we find through our global network. And we take advantage of these opportunities before these big moves happen in the commodity price. And with, in particular to gold, as I've said, I really believe that the next kind of 12 to 36 months is going to be an incredible time for gold investors that have been really hampered in the last few years of a pretty stagnant price performance. I think we're really going to see very bullish moves in the next 12 to 36 months.
The Fiore Group, this global conglomerate that you're a partner of, has successfully launched the most talked about launch of any stock in Canada's history, Hive Blockchain Tech. We've covered it in Wealth Research Group since day one at 74 cents Canadian. Subscribers who got in between 74 cents Canadian to $1.50 have shared with us via email that they've paid off 2 years worth of mortgages. I've even had, Brian, people send me their pictures on a cruise ship and saying thank you. They've doubled or tripled their annual salaries with the prolific moves. In just 3 months, the company has gone up 900%, and has since corrected a bit. Now it's trading for about $3.50 to $4 Canadian. Subscribers have had an incredible move with you guys, and you're now gunning the gold sector, and not just in any region. You're going into Nevada. So can you tell us why Nevada?
Yeah, first, Fiore, I'm extremely happy to hear. I mean, I don't even know if happy is the right word. I'm very pleased to hear that your subscribers have done so well. With Hive, the Fiore group met the largest hash power provider in the world, which is Genesis Mining, and the partnership has created Hive blockchain, which is very quickly, after raising about $200 million in equity in about 8 weeks last year in Q4, we're really poised and excited to be now the largest publicly traded mining vehicle in the world during an incredible time to be in the cryptocurrency space. So it's a company we're extremely proud of. And we think it's still just only begun, but it's great to hear that your subscribers have had life-changing financial events last year, and probably a great Christmas and holiday season. So on the gold side, I think it's somewhere that we are very comfortable. We have a lot of our at Fiore Group. We have a lot of our personal wealth tilted towards gold, and even gold, the metal gold. And it's somewhere in particular where Paul Matizik and I in Nevada, as I mentioned earlier, are very comfortable. It's where we started Lithium X at a $3 million market cap. And it's a place that is a great mining jurisdiction. It's still top 5 in the world, if not top 3, rated by Fraser Institute. It's in the United States. There's a lot of great support from the local government, from the state level. And in particular, Fiore Gold, the asset it purchased is a fully permitted mine that is in production. In October, it produced just over 1,800 ounces, and that's growing by the month here from the expansion on the leach pad. And it's an opportunity that we went in and with no debt, capitalized the business, brought in some very strategic shareholders alongside the Fiore Group, and it's something that the advisors, being on the company, being myself, Paul Matizik, and Frank Juster, are very focused on really creating an American focused producer with a strong balance sheet and a great management team led by Tim Warman. And for your subscribers that don't know Tim, Tim was had a lead role as the VP of Corporate Development for a gold project in Ecuador that sold to Kinross for almost $1 billion. It's actually an asset now that's being produced or being put in production by the Lundin Group, which is obviously one of the most respected resource entrepreneurial groups in the world. And it's actually a share price, which I love talking about with Tim. Tim walked me through where they started the company at pennies, and it went over $20 per share. So when we were looking for a great CEO to lead Fiore Gold, we wanted one in which that had delivered, again, lots of shareholder value and price performance to shareholders. And we just think that we've got a winning formula in Fiore Gold, and in particular, very comfortable in starting in Nevada. And we see a great opportunity consolidating some of these smaller mines into creating a very meaningful and respected producer.
Your vehicle for the coming cycle in Nevada is a tiny under-the-radar stock at the moment, but judging by your previous gold deal, which in 4 years after it's launched, Wheaton River got sold to Gold Corp and then became the 4th largest producer of gold worldwide, the potential here is insane. We already know that you guys are serial winners and that you get things done. From our conversations with the CEO, Tim Warman, the strategy is a grand-scale merger and takeover plan inside of Nevada and then in the Americas, taking advantage of win-win situations that you specialize in structuring. Could you please explain in detail how you plan to put together the blueprint to increase production from 2018's guidance of 37,000 ounces a year to 150,000, which is what you're inspiring to do in the immediate future?
Yeah, I'd say that, number one, as a group, we just can't help ourselves. We enjoy building. We enjoy building big. We enjoy building fast. And as major shareholders of these companies that we build, our interests are directly aligned with shareholders. So that's number one. Number two is when we do transactions, I don't think we like to walk away and say, at least my approach is not walk away and say, oh, we stole that asset, or we got the better end of that deal. What I like to try to do in negotiations is ensure that everyone walks away leaving a little bit on the table. And I always remember that's the best trade, is everyone feels like, what, I've left a little bit on the table. So as we go into this acquisition mode, I believe that creating a larger Nevada-focused company and then broader American-focused gold and silver producer is doing deals for equity and just looking at the accretive nature of a combined company and ensuring that everyone is going into a role that they are best at. And I know it sounds maybe cheesy or simple, but that really is what I like to try to do on any transaction. So maybe there's a great asset that's got a great operational team that aren't experienced capital markets guys. That's a perfect example of a company that we would look at. We would go and try to do a fair deal for their shareholders, make them cheerleaders of our company, because at the end of the day, if they all become shareholders of Fiore Gold, they should be cheerleaders. They should be telling their friends about the company. They should be telling them how great they were treated. And although they didn't have the best outcome as a standalone company, there are going to be great opportunities and shareholder value creation through the combined entity. And that's really the approach I've taken in my life. And I plan and we plan to do the exact same approach with Fiore Gold. And now that we've gotten 2017 behind us and getting Pan at an optimized level with increasing production every month, we're now ready to really have 2018 as the year of consolidation and what we believe to be price appreciation on the underlying commodity. And I think it's going to be an exciting year for shareholders.
Companies that are producing 150,000 ounces a year are priced for 10 times the market cap of Fiore Gold. So incredible upside potential compared with peers. You're known among people in the know as the #1 negotiator in the mining world. Our team has learned that you receive very tempting offers from Fortune 100 companies to advise and consult for them in key matters, but you refuse each and every time. You want to stay laser focused on your approach to Fiore Gold, and I get it and I appreciate it as a sizable shareholder. This focus really paid off when you were able to secure a 75% discount on your flagship project, the Pan mine acquisition. Could you share with us the details of that mine?
Yeah, thank you, Lior. So as you mentioned, yeah, it's a great position that I'm in with the Fiore Group to really go out there and negotiate on behalf of our group of companies, acquisitions and attract people. And it's something that I've been lucky enough to learn from the best on, and in terms of guys like Paul Matizik, who I think your readers and listeners know, but he's sold his last 5 companies in just over 10 years for almost $3 billion of shareholder value. And of course, Frank Giustra has taught me. I've been lucky enough to really be under his wing for the last couple of years as well. And he's created tens of billions of dollars of market capitalization in the companies that he's founded. So I found myself to be in a very fortunate position, and I've done the best I can with it. And when with regards to Fiore Gold, we got brought the project. We saw that over $200 million had been spent on the assets, including the Pan mine, which was in production and needed a little bit of extra capital at the end to really make sure that it was optimized and moving in the right direction. We've now done that. That was really 2017 and optimizing the operation. And we were able to get the entire package for almost 75% off of what the capex had been spent on the project. So, this is a perfect example of what Fiore Group represents and what we represent within Fiore Gold is utilizing our global relationships to find opportunities, get them in at the right price, and turn these assets that might have been forgotten about or orphaned, and turn them into great mines. So I think your listeners and your shareholders are going to see more of that coming into 2018.
Wealth Research Group's complete review of Fiore Gold is accessible at wealthresearchgroup.com/gold 2018. Brian, you're a class act and a role model. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks, Leroy. Anytime.